Sorry about that. Okay. So, that is one thing. Okay. The second thing is, yeah. So, the second thing on the LinkedIn profile. So as I was saying, that make sure that you highlight all your different essential skills. Okay. So most of you guys have already completed your full stack development courses. So you highlight all the different essential skills that you have um, you have learned, or you have been practicing. Okay, so make sure that you mention Java, JavaScript, the different frameworks like Angular, React, the web portions, HTML, CSS. Okay, in CSS, what all frameworks that you have used. Okay, then the database portion or the backend portion. Okay, what are the different types of databases that you have interacted with, what are the different things that you have implemented. Okay, so make sure that wherever you are highlighting your profile, make sure to explicitly highlight that, okay, these are the different technologies that I've worked on. Okay. In the very earlier days, people just used to write, Java J2E. That used to cover everything. Okay. But today, recruiters and companies are looking at very specific, details like, okay, I understand that this person is, having training on JavaScript, but does he know Angular or does he know React? Okay, or does he know only backend Node.js? Okay, similarly, if somebody is looking, a company is looking for database, okay, does he know NoSQL database or does he know RDBMS? Within RDBMS database, does he know SQL Server or does he know Oracle or MySQL, etc., etc.? Okay, so be as specific as you can. Okay, so um, again, in your LinkedIn profile, make sure, I'm taking just an example of LinkedIn because it is one of the most popular, okay, but similar guidance for all on the platforms, okay, is make sure that you highlight your particular skill. Okay, a lot of these companies will have, at least the tier one and the tier two companies will have an algorithm which will sort out the different criteria for selecting people. Okay, one of the criteria is also looking at the LinkedIn profile. So when you have to understand is that when you are creating a LinkedIn profile, you are creating a profile on your own, but there's another portion of it which is the LinkedIn business or the recruitment site. That view we don't see. Okay, when a recruiter logs in, they have a different view. They have some additional tools to filter out people and look for candidates. Okay, so to make sure that you fit into that particular profile, or you fit into that particular area, you go ahead and make sure that you highlight individual skill set. Okay, if at all possible, try taking the LinkedIn quizzes. Okay, or the LinkedIn skill assessment. Okay, that is, sorry Chandan, I'm muting you. There's some background noise. Okay, cool. So guys, just one more minute. If you are not speaking, try to keep yourself on mute. Okay. So again, try to take LinkedIn assessments. Okay, LinkedIn assessments are another great way of telling the recruiter that yes, uh, I know this particular language, and this gives a temporary assessment that yeah, this person has taken the assessment, he has cleared the assessment. If not at all, he is an expert, but he knows what he is talking about. Okay, so that is one more additional point that you can take care of. This will give you some brownie points. Okay, to talk to the recruiter, and when the recruiter even visualizes your profile, it will give you some brownie. Okay. Okay. The second thing is, make sure that if you have any past experience, okay, you highlight that. I'm going to try and demonstrate both scenarios. Like, okay, if you have any experience in earlier company or during job experience versus if you are not as well. Okay. So starting with, if you don't have any job experience or if you don't have a relevant IT experience as well. Okay. So in that case, there are two things that you can do. Okay. One is basically highlight the projects that you have done. Maybe on your college or in spare time you have done some projects. Okay. Highlight those. That okay, these are the things. Highlight your responsibility as well. Okay? If you open any of these portals today, and I'm pretty sure I'll hope that you go back and do this, uh, all these portals and profiles will give you an option to tell you that okay, what was your particular responsibility. Okay, That is a very important factor. A lot of the time, people will go back and say, "Yeah, I work in a project where we did full stack development for a portal or a ticket management system. We did that, we did this." Okay, but what the recruiter is trying to understand or assess is what was your particular role in that. Okay, so make sure that whenever you are highlighting your particular, project or your particular experience, you highlight what was your particular responsibility. Okay, what role you play. Okay, okay. This is something that will be a factor in your uh, CV or your resume as well. Okay, we'll come back to that later on. Okay, but the second step of the criteria is looking for some key brownie points. Okay, today, a trend with a lot of the popular, recruitment, sites and recruitment, functionalities is that they would also try to look for a live project that you have done. So let's say I know that I am capable of, creating a project. I don't want to start a full-blown project to highlight my capabilities. Okay, but if a recruiter asks me like, okay, can you give me an example of a project that you have done? Okay, you could actually tell them that, yeah, this is an experience that I have gained from a particular project in so and so company. Okay, but if let's say you don't have that experience, what can you do? It is a very good time for you guys because you just have completed your course. Go ahead and create a GitHub account. Okay, I'm not sure if you know about GitHub or not. Can someone or most of you give me a thumbs up if you know GitHub? Okay, I see one, I see two.
We get source code there, sir.
We get source code that is partially true, correct? Any more guesses? What is GitHub? Anyone take a wild guess. I think Shilpa already gave you half the answer. Like it's where you get source code.
Code hosting platform.
Sorry, come again.
Code hosting platform.
Code hosting platform. Okay, that is also partially true. I'll take that. Any more guesses? Anyone? Okay. So uh, some of you are partially right, but I'll give you the whole context. GitHub is basically the most popular code versioning system. Okay, so when you work for an enterprise, okay, it's not only who you are working on that particular code or particular project. Okay, there would be like 10, 20 people, or even in an agile project by close to 5 or 6 individual people who are developing the software or the application or the interface, whatever you're building alongside with you. Okay, if you all start working individually on your laptops and then you need to share your code, that's going to be a problem. That's where the code versioning system comes in. Okay, why am I telling you this about your profile? Why? Because GitHub also allows you to host your own personal code free of cost. Okay, that's the biggest advantage that we have today. Okay, of course, when you go into an enterprise or go into a software company, you will get to work on enterprise GitHub, which are paid versions. Okay, but if you go to just GitHub today, you can open a profile for yourself. Okay, and if you just do a quick YouTube search, you will get tons of videos where they will explain you how to open a profile, how to put a profile picture, how to make a repository, all of that. Okay, if time permits, we'll try to go ahead and look about our profile today as well, and how to work on GitHub and all. Okay, but the essential part here is that let's say you have developed a project. Okay, so the whole point that we are trying to address here is that if the recruiter or the interviewer is trying to tell you that, okay, I need to see some experience with your code, or I need to know if you really know how to code or not. Okay, so in that particular case, try building a use case. Let's say just build a very small portal. Okay, maybe just which is able to show images. Okay, or a portal which is able to take some data input, maybe a coronavirus app. Okay, any of that. Okay, think of an innovative scenario, but try to make it very simple. Have 4 or 5 use cases, and then try to build that project on your own based on whatever you have learned from the course. Okay, there will be some hurdles, I understand. There will be some scenarios where you will end up getting challenging, but that's the whole learning curve. But essentially, what we are targeting is basically creating a particular project, a full-blown project that you can upload into GitHub. Since this is a publicly available repository, anybody can go in and look at the GitHub repository. And if you are able to load a particular project, do proper documentation on top of it, making sure that you are able to, do some versioning on of it. Like for example, you create a project, upload it to GitHub, I forgot about that. That's of no use because people will say that okay, that person has this done this for a demo purpose. He is actually not working on it, but try to enhance couple of pages, enhance couple of functionalities on top of the existing application. This will give multiple versioning to your GitHub. Okay, that means it will generate some activity in your GitHub. That way, if when you are demonstrating your skill set through GitHub, the interview will also be comfortable saying that yeah, this person at least has the tenacity to go ahead and work on his own project. Okay. We are still talking about scenarios where you don't have real life experience. Okay. So GitHub, getting a project into GitHub, integrating that GitHub link into your your job portal, be it LinkedIn, be it Naukri, Monster, whatever, is another brownie point. Okay. A lot of the time recruiters who are technical, they will really appreciate that fact. Okay. Any questions on this?
No, sir.
Okay, great. How many of you have been using any of the job portal platforms? Have you interacted with any job portal platform for any particular scenario?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, okay. LinkedIn is one. Any other?
LinkedIn, Monster, Indeed.
One. Indeed, good, good. Okay, so there's a lot of yeah, 2%. Okay, okay, cool. So there's a lot of platforms that are there. Okay, and you can register yourself all over. Okay, and you can actually register yourself in multiple platforms. Don't stick to only one platform because you never know. Recruiters may be looking at profiles in one platform versus the other. Okay, behind the scene, what also happens is like these corporate recruitment processes or process teams actually would give lakhs of rupees to these job portals to identify certain profiles. Okay, so making sure that you are available in multiple platform is also a very good idea. Okay, okay. So we talked about first of all making sure that you have a profile in at least the top 4 or 5 job portals, right? The second thing is highlighting your details. Like for example, what is your education background? What is the college that you have graduated or mastered from? What was your core skill set? What has been your experience so far? What are the different skills that you possess? In skills, try focusing on the different soft skill and technical skills. Okay, the soft skills part we are going to come back to that, but the technical skills like Java or JavaScript or SQL or backend technologies, front end technologies, etc. Okay. Second thing is try going for the assessment, or if you are going for any community, I would say available um, assessments that are available outside like Coursera or any of the other freely available, or maybe even paid courses that you have done. Highlight all of them. A lot of people joined the LinkedIn courses, or you might have joined some other courses where you have got certifications, okay, or you have appeared for a small test where you got a certification, or maybe you have done something at your college level where you have got certifications, okay. Try registering all of that. Okay, these are all brownie points which you will make your profile more visible to the recruiter. Okay, that is one thing. The second thing is we talked about is GitHub. Okay, so we'll look at GitHub. Okay, but in the very basic, what you need to do is for GitHub, create a profile. At least log into GitHub, create a profile, create a repository, start creating your own project. Okay, use all the skill sets that you have learned in the course in this whole period. Okay, try to build a very small project. Try building it as small as less complicated as possible. Okay, I would essentially tell you that, okay, take a day, think about a particular scenario that, okay, I want to build an application on this particular scenario. Okay, take a pen and paper, write down the use cases that you want to derive. Okay, and then start also designing that, okay, these are the things that I'm going to build. Okay, I want to build one or two pages, or maybe one page in Angular, or one page in React. I want to connect it to a backend technology. Okay, and that backend technology is again going to talk about data store like a database. Okay, I'm going to design my UI to be either mobile based or web based, something like that. Okay, think about as complicated as less complicated features that you can put in, but essentially touching upon the different aspects of the skill set. Okay, so making sure that yes, you are highlighting that you know front end, you know back end, you know the database. Okay, so that is one key factor that you can always highlight. So anytime, not only your recruiter, even during your interview process, also sometimes people will tell you like, hey, tell me something about your last project, or you are about a project that you are very proud of. Okay, so these are scenarios that you can highlight. Okay, and make sure that that GitHub link is also available in your public profile, be it on your Monster, be it on your LinkedIn, or your resume. Okay. So that is one of the ideal, or the additional steps that you can take forward. Now jumping on to the other scenario, let's say you gain some experience, or some of you might have some experience. Okay, in that particular scenario, you also need to mention that, okay, I have been working in the industry for so and so long. In this particular company, I stayed this many months or this many years. What is the responsibility that I was given? What are my key achievements? Okay, like for example, you joined a company, you are given an award, like, okay, you are one of the best performing employees, or you are a super coder, or something like that. Okay, so all of these will give you additional benefits. Okay, so make sure that your LinkedIn profile or Monster profile has an highlight of all of these achievements that you have done. Okay? And then the second or the last point that I would say is basically make sure, and this is super important as well, make sure you get yourself a professional profile photo. Okay. A lot of the time I see people copying over their Facebook photos over into LinkedIn or Monster, or putting them into resume. Uh, Although there is no compliance to that, it's your public profile. You can do whatever you want. But a good measure and a way of showing that you are a very professional person is to making sure that you invest either yourself, maybe some of you are very tech savvy to take a professional photo. Maybe you have good equipment. If not, go to a regular studio, get a professional photo, and then use that photo on your professional site. Okay, that way even the recruiter will also understand that, yeah, this person is serious. He is somebody who is looking for a professional career. Okay, so these are small things that you can do. Okay, there are additional things that you can also do. You can also start posting, okay, your individual um, updates. Like for example, you completed a particular course, highlight that into your LinkedIn. You completed an assessment, highlight that into LinkedIn. You went for a particular journey. Let's say you attended a conference, okay, you attended a classroom training. Okay? mention that, yeah, it was great. Okay, the recruiter is not looking at, okay, you gave the training or not. Okay, but even if you have attended the training, the recruiter also understand that, yeah, this person is willing to learn something new. Okay, and try to make sure that you give at least some amount of attention to your job profile. Okay, because that is the first barrier that anybody has to cross. Okay, so making sure that you have your profile distributed across multiple platforms give you a better advantage. Making sure that your uh, public profile or the professional job profile is as accurate, as crisp, as bullet point centric as possible is another advantage that you will give yourself over the other profiles. Okay, the second thing or the other thing that we also discussed is the GitHub projects. Okay, so all of these combined will give your profile some added advantage. Okay, so if a potential recruiter has your profile, okay, and if they have to sort out between, like, okay, out of the 50 profiles I can only interview 15 of them. Okay, how do I identify? I don't know what is his whole skill set or whether that person is a legitimate person or not through the profile, right? So that's why these all things will come into play, making sure that you get adequate number of interview calls, you get asked to appear for interviews either on site or site, remote, whatever it is. Okay, so these are an essential first level barrier that you have to cross. Okay, so again, I'll summarize for a minute. Make sure that your profiles are distributed across as many platforms as possible. Make sure that whatever you have learned from your course that you have learned so far, you highlight those individually as granularly as possible. Fourth is making sure that you invest in a good professional portal. Okay. Uh, Fifth point is making sure that you try to have as much information about yourself, your interest, your summary of your history for the last couple of years, your college achievements, your courses that you have done, anything that you want to highlight about yourself, you make sure that you post that out. Okay. Sixth point is making sure that you have a GitHub project, at least one GitHub project that you can highlight. It could be multiple GitHub projects, that is even better, but even at least one project is good enough to start. Okay. Then the last part is basically regularly, at least even not regularly, giving it a fair amount of frequency. Like, let's say every week you open your LinkedIn profile, look at the different notifications, look at the different people that you get to see. Whenever you join LinkedIn and you start giving some activities, LinkedIn's recommendation or AI engine will try to post you some recommendation. Okay, hey, do you know this person? Or this person is very popular in your particular domain. This popular has, recently shared a particular post. You start liking posts. You start reaching out to people. You start reaching out to people on a particular company. Let's say, one of your friends or one of your senior, college senior has joined Capgemini, TCS, Accenture, or Bloomberg, okay? And you see them on your LinkedIn profile. Go ahead and reach out to them. Make connection, okay? So that is one way of getting yourself identified in the entire pool of people, okay? Any questions? I'll give it a pause and ask for any questions so far. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now that you, let's say now that you have already set up your public profile, uh, what is the another essential thing that you can do? The most important document or piece of document that will help you in getting a particular job or a particular spot in a particular company is your CV or your resume. Okay, why it is very important? Because that is one single document that will get rotated around your company, okay, or your recruitment circle. Okay, so again, similar to what you have done with your public profile in LinkedIn or Monster, whatever you have registered for, try to invest some time in a uh, good, crisp, and clear template. Okay, I'm not asking you to go for a professional service. There's a lot of professional services out there. It is definitely good to reach out to a professional service asking them, okay, can you design my resume or CV, okay, for this particular criteria, for this particular skill set, etc., etc. Okay, if not, definitely there's a ton of materials available over the internet. Okay, even if you just have plain Microsoft Word with you, if you go and open Microsoft Word, it will give you multiple templates for cover letters, multiple templates for resumes. Okay, you can start off with those and then start making changes as and when you feel like. Okay, there are two things that you need to make sure that you are particularly identifying in your um, resume. Okay, one is basically making sure that you highlight all the different things in bullet points. Do not go and write a paragraph about your skill set. Don't write I am a Java developer. I have done Spring Boot application. I have done. Yeah, I know MVC. I know this. No, absolutely not. Make sure that your profile is as bullet point and as crisp as possible. So, and make sure that you have different sections. Okay. So, for example, if you are highlighting that, okay, I am a front end developer. In the front end section, make sure that you highlight all the front end technology skills, stacks that you have worked on. In the backend section, highlight whatever backend technologies you have worked on. In the database section, highlight what are the different technologies or experiences that you have got. Okay, in the education section, highlight what is your total education background, how long have you studied, where you have you studied, if at all possible give a particular grade. It's not really recommended all the in all the places to give a particular percentage of, don't give the exact marks unless and until asked for. Okay, but if you have a grade like, okay, I passed with grade A or grade B or whatever, you can highlight that. But of course, if you are unfortunately, if your particular grade is not something that you want to highlight, try avoiding that as well because it will give you unnecessary questions in your interview. Okay, so that is one more thing that you can do. So in your resume, make sure that again you have your particular profile, you have a working phone number that is mostly available alongside your day-to-day basis. Okay, it should not be something like you give a friend's phone number or you give a phone number which is not easily reachable. Okay, make sure that you give a highly available phone number. You mention your email ID and also you mention your public profile. Okay. So if you are on to LinkedIn, give your LinkedIn profile. If you have a GitHub account, give your GitHub account. Okay. And here in all these places, at least make sure that you have your public profile active. Otherwise, when the recruiter goes and clicks on that link, they open up a blank screen and that pisses them off. That is not something that we want. Okay. So on an individual level, when you are actually registered for these, profiles, okay, make sure that you are, testing your uh, public profile user. Okay. A lot of the times we assume, but sometimes it is better that you individually click on that particular link and see whether it is opening your LinkedIn profile publicly or not. Okay, so that is one crucial important thing that you can do. Okay, and the most important, I cannot stress enough on this particular point is that make your CV as clean as possible. Okay, do not put a lot of information in the CV, putting this jargon here and there. Okay, ideally, what recruiters would like to see is a summary page. On the first page, make it like a summary, like, okay, my name is this, located here, graduated on this year, have a job experience or not, etc., etc. Primary skill set, education, interest, extracurricular activities, additional skill set, so and so. Close it off. If you cannot include extracurricular activities, remove that from that particular first page. The first page is the place where most of the people will hit. Okay. Rest of the pages are for additional information if people are finding your profile to be interesting. Okay. So if you are attaching additional pages, There, let's say you have some job experience or you have done a lot of projects that you want to highlight. Give an explanation of this project in the second page. Okay. Again, here is another bifurcation. Let's say you have some job experience and if you do not have a job experience. Okay. If you have a job experience, it is very good to have a timeline based exposure. Just like if you go into LinkedIn and you see like that, okay, for this year to this year, I was in this particular company playing this role. Try to kind of replicate that onto your CV as well. So people start understand that, okay, I see that, okay, he joined this particular company in X year. From X plus 2, he was here. X plus 5, he was there. X plus 6, he was there, etc., etc. Okay. So that way, the recruiter is also able to understand whether there is any gap in your entire experience or not. Okay. Because that is an essential criteria for many of the companies. Okay. Not the most important, but a lot of questions will come. Let's say you took a break. Somebody has gone in for doing masters. Okay. So immediately recruiter will say, hey, after 2018, I don't see his job experience. It is again starting from 2023 or 22, something like that. Okay. Why is there such a long gap? Okay. To avoid these questions, try putting in a section that, okay, I am going for masters or going for whatever reasons, family reasons, etc. Okay. If at all it is a contradictory or controversial topic, try avoiding that and then explain to the recruiter if and when asked for. Okay. So making your CV as crisp and clear as possible, it is one of the first and most ground criteria, I would say. Second thing is highlighting an additional page about your uh, additional details that you want to portray or highlight. That is one. Now, if you do not have a particular experience in any of the domains, okay, or you do not have an IT experience or you don't have an ITL project, then again, what you can do is you can mention the particular project that you have invested in GitHub and use that particular project and its information, do some architecture diagram, do some system design that, okay, this is how users will interact with my system, this is my front end built into and so app, sorry, built into and so technology, then you will have your back end, then you will have your database, okay. Try to admit all of these as possible, okay. So I'll take a pause again. If you have any questions regarding your CV, I can also try and show you in a minute. But before that, if you guys have any questions, I would like to address that. Guys, have you already created a profile or at least CV for yourself? How many of you have created a CV? Let's get a poll. Can you give me a thumbs up if you have already got a CV? I see two. Only two of you have a CV? Three. Okay. Okay. So okay, I see more coming up, coming in. Okay, good, good. Okay, great. Great. Okay, so at least 50% of you already have a CV. I'm going to assume that the rest, haven't been able to create a CV as of yet. Okay, so go back, take an assessment of the current feedback that you or take help from your friends or whatever recommendations that you got from this session. Please, I cannot express the importance of this particular step. Please make sure that you have a good profile created for you. Okay, it doesn't have to be very fancy. It doesn't have to contain a lot of information. Start with the very basic. Okay, so let me take a minute and show you one example where you can start off. I'm not saying this is the best that you should be aiming for, but this is a startup free of cost. Okay, most of you would be having a Word at your home. I mean Microsoft Word, and from there you can start. Otherwise, you can go and search on Google, and you will find a lot of sites providing you this free of cost template. Okay, so let me just open up Word and then share my screen. Okay, so let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. So if you click on the new, okay, you will see a bunch of the different formats and different categories. Okay, if you go into resumes and cover letters, okay, it will give you a bunch of formats. Okay, you can pick and choose from any of them. All of these have different domains. Some of these are for advertisement profiles, some of these are for functional profiles, some of these are analyst profiles. Okay, so you need to look at them and try to understand how these profiles fit into your particular area or not. Okay, essentially something like this, to start off, something like this, or maybe something like something like this. Okay, so these are good places to start. And as I said, like if you could find a particular um, this is another model, very popular one that I have been seeing used by many candidates so far. Is this one, okay? And this will be able to host a lot of your technical areas that you want to highlight. Okay? But yeah, if you can find one with which has basically your profile picture in it, better. Okay, we are all humans. We like to see faces, and the more the faces we see, we get to sense and we relate ourselves more. So if you can find one with a profile picture, fine. If not, if you are comfortable providing a non or pictureless profile, that's even fine as well. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule over here, but the main point here is that you need to highlight that, okay, your profile is clean and clear, crisp. You highlight, okay, what are your essential strong points, what are your essential learning areas, what are your essential sections that you want to tell your recruiter or your interview. Okay, okay. um any questions so far? Okay. um Guys, I would like you to give me a confirmation, maybe like a thumbs up with the react button, so that I at least know that yeah, you guys are able to reciprocate the information that is being passed. Okay, otherwise, you know I'm not able to understand all the information is flowing correctly on. Okay. 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 Now that we talked about creating our profile, okay. The second thing that we need to understand is how the entire interview process is. Okay. So I'll give you some behind the scenes scenarios as well. Okay. But before that, let's look at GitHub as well. Okay. Just so that you are all familiar. Okay. So, are you able to see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So this is what the GitHub page looks like. Okay. So here you will see a lot of information. You can read through all of these. Okay. But particularly for you, from profile standpoint, this is where you need to use your sign in or sign up section. Okay. So here basically you do a sign up, and then you get to a particular uh, profile. Okay, so let's look how the GitHub profile looks. Popular GitHub profiles. So these are people who are very active. One of the most trending GitHub profiles that you can find. Okay, so let's look at this particular one. Okay. Okay. So this is how your GitHub profile will look like. Okay. Once you have created your profile, okay, you will have something like this. Okay. So what information is visible right away is that where are you located, what are your different links, maybe Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. Okay. How many followers you have, what are your projects that you have done. Okay, how many projects you have forked is a concept that we'll probably discuss later on. But what are the different projects that you have uploaded, what is your activity. Okay. Okay, a lot of these information is available. Okay, it is a very concise and precise way of looking at what are the different activities that this person is doing. Okay, mostly GitHub was being used by the open source community. Okay, so let's say someone found a utility that okay, I see there is a framework that is available over the community on the open source forum, and I want to build on top of that. That's where people started creating their own profiles, in their own piece of code, their own flavor of the software. Okay, so that is where it started. But yes, here similar to what you can see over here, you can start creating your own project. Okay, and it is very easy to do, and it is free of cost. So there's no reason why we cannot. Okay. So see, there are 76 repositories that this person has contributed. Okay, number of packages, projects, stars. Sometimes people will also give you feedback, etc. Okay, so this is the activity state. So as I was saying, like when you go into the GitHub profile, you can see the different activities that this person has been contributing to this GitHub profile. Okay, so if like for example between March and May, I can see that this person did not do a lot of commits. Okay, or did not do a lot in terms of contribution. This is something that your public GitHub profile will also share with the rest of the world. So try and make sure that whenever you are working on a project, either try updating your project or getting additional projects lined up. Okay, good. Okay. So we talked about sharing creating a public profile. We talked about creating something in terms of LinkedIn, Monster job, etc. We talked about getting your CV created. Okay, and how to create a CV from scratch. Okay, So any questions so far? Or any feedback that you would like to share? Maybe some of you have a great idea that this person can benefit from. Go ahead, feel free. Okay, let's do a very quick exercise. How many of you can uh, create your GitHub account during the session itself? Let's take a poll. Okay. So at 10:15, we will take a quick break. Okay. After that, we can start off at 10:30. Then let's see how many of you can, create your GitHub profile. Okay. I'm sure that most of you have your LinkedIn profile. If not, go ahead. But, at least start looking at, GitHub, see what are the, points that they are looking for. And, at least by the end of the day today, you should have yourself a GitHub profile. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one more thing before we part. Okay, so let's take a break for 15 minutes. I would encourage you guys take the 15 minutes, try to refresh. If at all, if you have any questions, try to write it down. And the later half of the session, I would really like it to be a little more interactive. Okay, this is a grooming session, not a coaching session as per se. So I would like to really understand and talk to you guys and try to give you specific inputs if possible to, give you some real insights, okay, about how the entire interview cycle works, what you should be watching out for, and what are the different aspects of, getting yourself into the interview rhythm altogether. Okay. So talk to you guys in a few minutes. Okay. 10:30. Thank you.
Hey, hello everyone.
So we'll wait for a minute more to see if someone else is joining, and then we can get started. Okay, I think we have 5 minutes up. We can get started. I hope everyone is able to hear me. Can someone confirm? Guys, are you able to hear me? Can someone confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so as we discussed, let's start. On sharing some of your. Okay, so let's start. Discussing about. So the first 30 minutes we are going to talk about the entire recruitment cycle in majority of the companies. Okay, and then we are going to talk about your individual experiences and some tips and pointers to look out for. Okay. 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 So let me share the screen as well, or the whiteboard. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, so usually the process starts like this. Okay, so let's say you are the individual person. Okay, and you start off with your profile, right? You put up an application saying that, okay, I want to join XYZ company. Okay? Okay. Then what happens is like there's a pipeline of profiles that the recruitment team will start processing. Okay. So they will go through some filtering options. Okay. And there they will try to analyze whether you are a suitable candidate on it, okay, for the particular position. Then what they will do is they will forward this to the PM, okay, because essentially they are the one who are looking for a particular person in either their project or their programs or any of the particular engagement. Okay, this person may be a technical person, maybe a non-technical person. Okay, just guys, give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay. Hey, sorry about that. Okay, so as I was explaining, so your profile will be taken to the PM, which is basically the project manager. Okay, it can also be sometimes to technical lead as well. Okay, so they are going to evaluate a list of those profiles based on a lot of things like the technology reference, the stack that you have worked on, any experience that you have worked on, etc., etc. From that, they will go for a telephonic phone interview. Okay, what all you should expect in a telephonic phonic interview? Okay, in the telephonic interview, first thing is you will be asked to do your intro. Okay, like for example, where are you located, what is your total experience, what are your core skill sets, what are your interests, why are you trying to join so and so company, etc., etc. Okay, second thing is basically your relevance. Okay, by relevance it means is like for that particular project, okay, they are going to give you some information. Okay, that okay, we are trying to look for people in so and so particular project because we have this new project coming up, or there's already an existing project where we need a lot of people, or we are building a product, okay, or we are building a team, etc., etc. So whatever is the scenario, they will give you an idea like okay, why they are recruiting. Okay, this is a very crucial portion. Okay, why? Because this will give you a chance to talk to the person taking the interview and try to gain more understanding of that particular role. Okay, what all things that we should be looking for in that particular item, that is the skills. Okay, see, it is uh, you know virtually impossible to know all the technologies all the time. Okay, but from this particular scenario, we can try and assess what are the different skills needed. Maybe it needs skill set 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay, but you end up understanding that okay, I know or I have a relevance with these three skill sets. Okay, I may not know the fourth one. Okay, so you already know or you are prepared that okay, this is an area that I don't want to go into an interview with, or you can be upfront. Okay. So that is one thing that you need to look out for, that, okay, what are the different skills? Okay. Then the second thing is basically whether there is a urgency or not. Actually, let me try again. Okay. So coming back. Okay. So whether there is any urgency. Okay, because this is another crucial factor, because a lot of these companies will try to look for early joining. Okay, so that has some advantages and disadvantages as well. Okay, if you are someone who is working in let's say a company, mostly tier 3 company, you will have 90 days of notice period. Okay, some companies will have like 60 days as well. Okay, so this particular scenario, you cannot do away with anything. Of course, there are certain options. You can talk to the HR and take a pay cut. Okay, or if there is a particular scenario or an exception, that okay, the project that you are working on, that does not have any particular requirement, then also you can be excused. Okay, but in most cases these are scenarios that you cannot play around with. Okay, because this is completely essential to the existing company. Okay, now this urgency is something that will give you and both the recruiter or the interviewer that whether you can join within timeline or not. So let's say I started a project which is going to last for, let's say, 6 months or 1 year. Okay, I'm already into 6 months. Okay, and now on top of that, if you are going to join after 90 days, that is 30 days, you are going to take an additional 30 days or 40 days to get up to speed, and then start contributing to the project. So essentially, my project will be over even before you are set up. So you are not a particular fit. So that is one thing. So try to understand the urgency portion of it. Okay, and if you are going in as a fresher, or this is the urgency, or you do not have any dependency, like you can join very immediately. Okay, then you need to share that information to the project manager or the interviewer, that I can join immediately, or I can try and contribute to the project early on, try to work with them, have some more trainings, work extra hours to gain some experience. Okay, so that is where you build some confidence with the interviewer. Okay, the third thing is basically your assessment. Okay, now these assessments will be of two types. One is basically technical. The other one is basically your, I would say, soft skill. We'll come back to that technical portion later on, but let's talk about the soft skill. So in the soft skill, what can we expect? First and foremost, the most important thing. Okay, a lot of people think that, okay, hey, I'm not able to understand very good English, or I'm not able to reciprocate in very good English. Okay, the interviewer will reject me. There's a possibility, I will not deny that, but in most cases, if you are a junior profile, or if you are just starting out, that is not a criteria, or I would say it should not be the major criteria. Okay, but the first and most important thing is that whether you are understanding the question. Okay, that is the most important. I cannot highlight this enough, but that is the most important aspect of this particular area. Okay, why? Because in this particular area, what they're trying to understand is that whether you can take questions on your own, because today or tomorrow you will have to face a customer, and since most of the companies deal with global customers, somebody could be from Saudi Arabia, somebody could be from Japan, one customer can be from Africa, one customer could be from US. Okay, so it is very essential that you understand the question. Okay, now there could be dialect issues, there could be influences of different languages and different ways of expression between the different countries, but what you need to also is put really went stops. Like, okay, if you're not able to understand a particular question, how do you address that? Or do you just move along with not understanding half of the question and then going back to your team asking like, hey, did you understand that? The possibility is that that person even also did not understand. Okay. Okay, I see a question. Okay, we'll talk about the communication. Yeah, and the English portion is definitely something we need to work on. But we'll talk about that. Okay, so that is the first thing. So if you fail on this particular area, like what are the different pointers? Okay, the first pointer here is that the interviewer is asking the same question over and over. Okay, he is repeating the question for you like 5 times, 6 times. Okay, that that's a big warning for you, that okay, the interviewer is not going to approve your profile. Okay, so try whenever you get a phone call, you make sure that you are in a quiet place. You try to make sure that you have a good headset, and you are able to very clearly and crisp way, in a crisp way, you are able to hear the voice very clearly and understand the question. Okay, if the interviewer is going very fast, okay, like he is going like can you tell me why you adjust? Okay, things are not going to work out for you. You missed a lot of the information. So ask him that, okay, sorry, sir, I did not get the entire question. Okay, if you could slow down and then repeat the question once more for me, then I can try and give an answer, better answer for you. Okay, so that way you politely ask him to give you a little bit more time, as well as reduce his tempo a bit. Okay, but do not shy away if you are not able to understand the question, because if the interviewer does not understand that you did not get the full question because of either a communication issue or a network issue or whatever is the reason, and you give a wrong answer, the interviewer doesn't have a way to understand that you did not get the full question. So the benefit of doubt has gone out of the window. Okay, that is the most crucial part. Okay, so whenever there's a phone conversation, what we discussed first, clear voice should be there. A lot of us try to take the interview even if the voice on the other side is not very clear, or even your voice is not very clear. Try to avoid the interview at that point of time. Asking for a reschedule, or you tell them that okay, I'll call you back in 15 minutes. Go to a location where you know the network is good, or your voice will be available, or you gather a headset. Okay, or if you are traveling somewhere, or you're outside in the market somewhere, they give you a call. Ask him politely for a 15 minutes or 30 minutes window. Okay, it is better to take that window rather than going into an environment where neither you or he can communicate with each other. Okay, the second thing, okay, address the question. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that making sure that when the customer is asking, let's say I ask one of you like, how does on a day-to-day basis the CSS helps web developer? Okay, somebody comes and says in CSS we can have this framework, and we can utilize this, it has this advantage, it can be inline, it can be done with this particular frame, or this particular concept, etc., etc. You are partially answering my question. but you are not addressing the exact question. So repeat the question for your interviewer that, okay, this is what I understand is your question. That okay. So sir, you are trying to understand that on a day-to-day basis why we are using CSS in a particular web page or a particular web project. Correct? If the interviewer says yes, that is the exact question, then you move forward with your answer. Okay. Third thing is try summarizing. Okay, that means if you are going to give a answer, okay, which may include multiple points, that okay, point one is addressing part one of your question, point two is addressing an additional portion, point three is providing an additional input to your question or answer. Okay, try summarizing that. Okay, so in short, sir, I will do this in the front end, I'll do this in the back end, I'll do this in the database. That way, our requirement is fulfilled with minimal effort. Okay, so that way the interviewer knows that yeah, you are having a clear idea, even if you do not know exactly the specifics. Like you may not be knowing a HTML tag, you may not be knowing that CSS command, CSS attribute that needs to be used. You may not know the exact SQL syntax that needs to be used, but you have a clear vision, clear idea that this is what exactly has to be done. And at the end of the day, you can go back and look up in internet and then figure it out. Okay, so that is first point. Okay, now coming back to the understanding portion, sorry, the uh, evaluation, the assessment, right? Okay, so we talked about understanding, sorry, the we talked about the soft skill. Okay, so sorry, in the soft skill, we also missed one item. So we have the technical portion as well. Okay, so in the soft skill, understanding the question. Second thing, summarizing. Okay, and then the first and foremost, clear voice. Okay, now someone asked the question, and this may be relevant for many of us. Okay, and sometimes even when I was a fresher, I also used to get intimidated. When the interviewer has a very fluent English. He's able to communicate with me in English, and he's extending words that I don't know. Okay, so these are all scenarios that can trip up your interview. Okay, in those scenarios, what you need to do is basically go slow. Okay, so one thing is there is no alternative to this. I would say is basically for the English portion practice. Okay, there is no alternative to this. Okay, the more you practice, the more you will see yourself getting more confidence. The more number of words will come to your mind, and a quick info, a lot of these corporate companies, they're spending lakhs and lakhs in soft skill training, because what we have also realized in certain days is that people come from different backgrounds, people come from different colleges, different states. Okay, the education system in India is not uniformly distributed, right? So some of you might be coming from a non-English speaking college, or some of you might be coming from a remote area. Okay, so in those scenarios, it is actually harder for the person to gain up to speed with the communication level. So make sure that you practice within your friends, within your community, or even just take 15 minutes a day and practice in front of a mirror and repeat your answer, like how you introduce yourself, write some potential questions that the interviewer can ask, and then repeat that question in the in your self zone in front of a mirror, and then realize that okay, where you are getting stuck, and what are the things that you need to do. So that is the first and foremost thing. Okay. The other thing that you can do here is, because it comes with practice, is going slow. Okay. So take as slow and pauses as you can. So let's say you are trying to explain a lengthy scenario. The interviewer will have given you a particular example that okay, I want to develop a particular portal, and I am imagining these number of components to be available, and this is how it should look. So this is an entirely big conversation that you will be doing, that okay, I'm going to design one page, I'm going to design a backend, I'm going to design the database in this particular database, etc., etc. And this entire conversation will take long. So try to go as slow, take pauses, so that if you are missing some words, like okay, I want to tell to the interviewer that okay, I want to use this, but for some reason I'm not able to get that word into my mind. Taking slow pauses will give you that advantage, and you will be able to recover from that scenario. Okay, so that's mostly on the soft skill. Any more questions on the English portion? Are we clear? Okay. Also, just make a note of it, and this is certainly something that you will realize when you start appearing for more interviews, is that do not fear an interview just because of your English skill set or your communication. Okay, most of your on your level, most of the focus or highlight will be on your technical skill set, not on your soft skill. Okay, but yes, can you avoid soft skills completely? No. Can you make an impression with your soft skill? Yes. Does it help your interview for the soft skill? Yes. Does it give an additional advantage to you? Yes. Okay. So make sure whenever you find time, work on your soft skill. There are multiple scenarios, avenues that you can stress on. Okay. And start reading books, start practicing. Okay. And all of this will, improve your soft skill. Okay, but do not fear an interview, or do not get particularly intimated that okay, the interviewer is asking too many or too fast in English, or is using too many jargons that I don't know. Okay, it is okay to not to know jargons, because it is just like WhatsApp, short forms, right? I never knew what ROSL means for a year or so. Okay, so it is eventually when you start conversating with people, then you start getting more and more information, and more words come talking to you. Okay, now coming back to the technical aspect. Okay, so on the technical aspect, mostly, since you will all be mostly appearing for full stack, there will be three portions. Okay, one is basically your overall understanding. Okay, second thing is your front end. The fourth one will be the front end, which would consider your CSS, your HTML, your JavaScript. Okay, etc., etc. So all of the things that you have learned, in your full stack development course, you need to, be prepared for this particular portion. Then there will be a backend. Okay, in backend, people might ask like, okay, what kind of technology or what kind of platform have you used? You can say, let's say I have used Spring Boot. Okay, they might ask you, or maybe you can say Spring MVC. Okay, so they might ask you, why Spring Boot? Why have you not used something else? Okay, you can tell them that yeah, Spring Boot has been my choice of learning. It integrates very well with enterprise applications, and it is a very popular framework for which there is a lot of community support as well. because it is not like you are going to develop everything, just like Einstein and then forget. People do need help, okay, and there are new evolvements, new enhancements, bug fixes happening on a daily basis, right? So any popular community will give you that advantage, okay. So prepare your answers in similar fashion, okay. Okay, then basically is your database, okay. So why, which DB, okay, what are the advantages, okay? Can you tell me a SQL statement that will give me this data from an employee table? Can you tell me what are joins? Okay. Can you tell me like um, how to delete a record? Okay. So all of these questions probably will be, or all of these sections will be probably part of your assessment. Okay. But we are still at the own assessment. Okay. So the interviewer will not spend more than, let's say, 30 minutes. Okay. This is just an understanding call to make sure that you are a legitimate profile, that you really know something or at least have a relevance to that particular topic. Okay. Or you are not a fake profile, and what are the things that he should be looking out for. So that is all about your phone or your telephonic conversation. Okay. Then once this is done, okay, then comes your, if you go ahead with this, okay, then comes your I would say second assessment. Okay, in the second assessment you would be probably going for a purely technical interview. This is where you would be doing some things. Okay, first thing is example code. Okay, second thing is understanding the code and uh, complex algo. Okay, so in the example code, okay, they will tell you like, okay, they will give you a particular code, and they will ask you like, okay, I have designed this web application with this CSS, or I have developed a Java application with uh, has this function. Can you tell me, what is the output, or what is the problem with this particular scenario? Okay, many of you might be familiar with IDEs, or you might have worked with some software like Notepad plus plus or something, which will give you right away a marking like, okay, this is a wrong syntax, or this cannot be over here, etc., etc. Okay, but here in this particular scenario they will just do it on plain Notepad. You don't have any additional tools available with you. You just have to go with your knowledge and your practice and tell that, okay, it looks like that this particular section is not okay. Okay, or understanding the code is, if you go through the entire step, like you have 10 lines of code, you go through each of the 10 lines and say that, okay, yeah, this is going to throw you a null pointer exception, or this is going to give you a runtime exception, something like that. Okay, and the third one will be basically your algorithm. Like, for example, they will tell you like, okay, I have a let's say I have a list where I have 0 2 4, 6. Okay, what is the best search that I can use? Okay, just an example. Okay, so you say like, okay, yeah, this is a ordered list, so I can use a binary search or something like that. Okay, and then the ordering of it, right? Okay, it is of the order 1 or order n or order n log n, something like that. Okay, so these are advanced concepts that they will try to assess for. Okay, and then also they will try to understand the overall architecture. Okay, mostly here for this you will have like a 3-tier app. Okay, so basically you will have your users joining in from a browser, let's say Chrome or Edge or Internet Explorer, and then they will hit your page. Okay, that page will be rendered back from a server. Okay, and that server is again connecting back from a database. Okay, how, how this communication is working, how this communication is working, how this communication is working. Okay, on a very high level, you all need to understand that. Okay, if you don't understand that, try googling it today. Try going for on YouTube or ask your technical technical uh, trainer or consultant that you have with Mindstay, and they should be able to help you out with that particular scenario. Okay, but a high level, you don't have to know each and every integrity, but on a high level, how a 3-tier application works is something that you should be overall familiar with. Okay, because there might be some questions. I would say like at least 10% of the question will be coming from here. Okay. And then if all of these are done, then the third round will be your um, HR, or I would say the leadership round. So here they will try to understand like how you will address a tricky scenario. Okay. We will also try to understand how comfortable you are to work on different projects. Okay, and then some other leadership qualities. Each company, tier 1 companies have their own leadership principles. Tier 2 companies have their own. Okay, and then they will also try to understand your teamwork capabilities. Okay. So this is where you can explain like, okay, I used to work in a particular team, or in college I built a project with 4 of my other, my fellow friends and all. We all individually distributed the project. Each of them had individual responsibilities, etc., etc. Okay, so these type of questions, you can expect. Okay, and this will give the interviewer whether you have a positive attitude on it. Okay, and that is something that I'm going to come to the next point. Okay, and that is one of the most, after I would say your technical interview, is your attitude. Okay, if the interviewer feels that you have a positive attitude, you may be lacking some of the technical aspects, you may need to learn a couple of frameworks, etc., etc. The interviewer will still would like to prefer a candidate who has good attitude but maybe lesser knowledge versus someone who has an extreme level of knowledge but the attitude is very bad. Okay, in that particular scenario they would like to avoid that because sooner or later that person is going to jump ship or that person will not work out within that particular team. Okay, so that is one of the most important things. Okay, make sure that whenever you are addressing you feel very confident, you are telling whatever you know, you be honest with the interviewer, you are also try to tell him that okay, yes, I am very prepared because I'm very excited for this particular position and I would like to give it my 100%. Okay, if they say like okay, so you are located in X city and my project is in Y city, can you move out from here to here? So you need to be prepared for an answer for that. Either you are going to be saying, yes, I can move out given a certain duration, certain help, logistics, etc. Or if you are saying like, okay, no, I cannot move away right now, but I can move away in next 6 months. Okay, all of those things be very clear. Okay, so that will give the interviewer an understanding that, okay, choosing you, even after the project work, will you give him more troubles on it? Okay. So that's mostly the entire interview round, how it goes. Okay. One thing to note for here is that, all the HR infrequently, infrequently. Okay. That means, let's say you have applied for an interview, the interview went, maybe you think the interview has gone in really fine, you were able to answer a lot of the questions and you feel positive. Okay. Do not start calling the HR every day. That pisses the HR off, and if the HR has two candidates that passed off, HR will pass on to the other one who is not bothering him or her. Okay, but it is also essential that you try and make connection with the HR that yes, I would like to get a feedback from you as early as possible, and I will just try to remind you that okay, I'm in the pipeline and I would like to understand from you. Okay, so make infrequent connects, maybe once a week or so, and try not to oversell yourself to the HR. Okay, and if things go wrong, the next one is the negotiation, where you have basically your dollars or you negotiate your salary. Okay, so that's the overall highlight. Okay. um, okay, now I would like to spend the additional remaining time uh, understanding from you guys. So far, it has been a monologue. So I would like to understand from you guys what has been your experience. If you have appeared for an interview, how it went, where you felt it did not go really that well, so that we can talk about some of those points. Maybe Vishnu, you would like to start? Manjunath, Madhu. Okay, Vishnu, go ahead. Or it can be any of the questions like for the yeah, go ahead.
Sir, can I ask in Hindi? हेलो
Yeah, go ahead.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है सर
Mhm.
कि ये 3 दिन का जो ग्रूमिंग सेशन चल रहा है उसके बाद क्या होगा सर, हमको ये थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में नहीं पता है।
एक्चुअली मुझे भी आइडिया नहीं है. यू माइट नीड टू टॉक टू द कनेक्ट और पॉइंट ऑफ कांटेक्ट जो भी आपके साथ अभी बात कर रहे हैं उनके साथ बात कीजिए. आई थिंक आप लोग का एक व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप भी है, तो वहाँ पे ये क्वेश्चन डालिए कि ये ग्रूमिंग सेशन के बाद what is the next step. Okay, maybe they will be able to give you a better idea.
जैसा ये तो नहीं है, ये तो जैसे कि उसमें है कि ग्रुप का नाम है पे आफ्टर प्लेसमेंट, जिसमें ऐड हुए हैं। तो ये किसी कोर्स के लिए स्पेसिफिक है या फिर ये ग्रूमिंग सेशन के बाद इंटरव्यू शेड्यूल होगा या जो भी?
Honestly, मुझे भी अभी पता नहीं है, but if someone from the Mindstay team can take up that question, it will be best.
ओके, थैंक यू।
Okay. Anyone else? Balaji, Praveen? It can be anything related, even if you are not asking related to the same thing that we discussed, or if you have any more doubts, any of those things we can discuss today. Okay. So the core agenda of today is to prepare yourself for interviews, making sure that you have the right set of tools available with you, and you are self-confident and motivated that yeah, I can do this. Maybe Nitin?
So clear.
Okay. Have you, Nitin, have you applied for any roles so far, or have you appeared for any interviews so far?
So this is my first meeting for a preparation.
Okay. Okay.
I will.
So what do you think would be your next step, that going after the session? What is your next step?
So I have to write down the notes on notes and try to prepare for it.
Okay. Okay. Any challenges that you see?
I think I will develop and try to make technical interview make better. Focus on a technical interview.
Okay. Okay. So guys, see, one thing is, thank you for sharing with me. Okay. So one thing that I would also like to share with you guys is that, there's tons of material outside on the internet where you can, start grooming yourself, particularly for the interview assessment. Like, what are the crucial things? Some of us are hardcore into doing development work, but at the same time, we may not be, addressing the question correctly. So there are a lot of questions out there on the, question banks available. Try going through those, so you will get more understanding, like, okay, this is an area that I need to understand more. This is an area that I know best. Okay, try to make yourself available in that particular area. So go through those, and as you go through it more and more, you will get to see more involvement in yourself. You will get more confidence in answering the questions.
Hello, sir. I'm Madhu.
Yeah. Hey, Madhu, go ahead.
Sir, how to get good impression by in interview?
So your question is how to get good impression in the interview. Am I correct?
In by starting. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough question. So yeah, as we discussed, make sure that couple of things are there. First and foremost is that if you are being called for a scheduled interview, okay, let's say the interviewer has asked you that, okay, please be available over phone on so and so date, so and so time. Please be available at least 10 minutes early. Call someone from that particular mobile. If it's not a Zoom call, it's just a telephonic interview. Be available in a area with good network. Okay, try calling someone like your family or friend. Okay, and ask them, are they able to hear your voice correctly or not? Okay, and make sure that you are available in as much of a noise-free area that you can. Okay, a good clear conversation with the interviewer gives 30% of the interview, clear 30% of the day. Okay, so make sure that you are in a very good, area where you can have good conversation. Okay. The second thing is like never be late. Okay, be prepared, be available at least 10 minutes earlier to the call. Even if you find an email, there also they will mention that 10 minutes or 20 minutes, prepone availability, or early availability is always preferred. Okay. The third thing is, when you are talking to the recruiter, okay, make sure that you highlight, okay, all your different skill sets. That okay, I know this particular skill set, I know this particular, framework, etc., etc. Okay, and if the recruiter is not a technical recruiter, that means they might not be understanding the whole technical jargons and the framework. Try to explain the different contributions that you are going to bring to the team. That okay, you are very hardworking, you have a very good learning skill set, you are able to learn and adapt to situations, etc., etc., and you are very excited to go for an interview for this particular company. Okay, so these all things will give the impression that yeah, you are somebody who is very serious for this particular position, and you would like to get interviewed by this company at the earliest possible hour. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. No questions from anyone? Okay, so thank you again for joining the session today. We will talk about some additional points to prepare yourself, get yourself more ready for the technical rounds. Okay, even on the soft skills as well, we can do some mock interviews if possible, and we'll start the journey again tomorrow. Okay, so with that, thank you again, everyone, and talk to you tomorrow.